A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for 31st of January 2025. Since many of you are excited about the budget, so let me first talk about the budget 2025. We here at PW Only IAS English channel are going to do the extensive holistic analysis of budget at 9:30 p.m. 1st of February. Economic survey is going to be released today by the ministry. So we are going to talk briefly about the economic survey, 10 salient findings of economic survey as and when it is released by the Ministry of Finance tonight at around 8 or 9 p.m. Again, we'll be talking about the economic survey at a glance tonight here on this channel itself. So let's begin with the news analysis. This is the Telegram channel where you can find all my activities, my sessions, the alerts about my upcoming sessions or the MCQs, mains questions, etc. So this is the channel where you can find the PDF for this news analysis also. Now today's news articles, Supreme Court has finally allowed the admission of or the criteria for appointment of the ad hoc judges. Supreme Court has allowed the appointment of ad hoc judges in the light of increasing pendency of cases in various high courts. So that means that where in the courts like Allahabad High Court, Calcutta High Court, where the pendency of cases is increasing day by day, there the ad hoc judges, the judges who have already retired from the active service, will be allowed for 2 to 3 years on the ad hoc basis. Article 224 at play over here. Then the next article, manual scavenging. Supreme Court's concern about the manual scavenging, why this derogatory practice of manual scavenging is continuing even a decade after the Act of Manual Scavenger Prohibition and Rehabilitation was passed in 2013. A welfare legislation, topic of GS Mains Paper 1, social issues. So we are going to talk about these issues extensively. Then few days back we had talked about this issue, why 70,000 odd crore rupees are lying in the interstate or building and other construction workers welfare fund cess. That cess is levied on every construction project up to 2%. Okay, that money has been lying idle for more than 5-6 years now. Even as the workers, the migrant workers who migrate from the states like Bihar to Punjab are not getting the facilities that they deserve. So that aspect was highlighted in the Hindu newspaper. Now, as a follow-up to the Hindu news, the news published in the Hindu ministry, the Labour Ministry has swung into action and has constituted a Chintan Shivir or brainstorming session of all the labour ministers of 36 states and union territories of India to devise some mechanism for the welfare of workers and to do something about institutionalization of the 4 new labor codes that were enacted in 2021. Let's talk about these issues extensively with me, Jatin Verma. Let's get started, guys. First of all, in April 2021, Supreme Court had given a judgment that ad hoc judges should be appointed in rarest of the rare circumstances where the pendency is quite high. Now, revising its judgment, because that judgment April 2021 had laid down a very strict criteria for appointment of ad hoc judges. Why? Because see, ad hoc judges, if they would be appointed, they would not be as committed to the service. This is a kind of doubt because they've already retired from the service and they are already getting their pension and other benefits that they get after retirement. So any player like in cricket who's already served his innings, if you ask somebody to play, in IPL, they are not as enthusiastic as the player already who has not taken the retirement, right? So considering that, the criteria has now been revised. Why? Because the pendency of cases is increasing by leaps and bounds in various high courts across India. Primary among them being Bombay High Court, Calcutta High Court and Allahabad High Court. Now here, what is the criteria? The number of the cases, the number of ad hoc judges cannot exceed by more than 10%. For example, if in, let's say, Allahabad High Court, there are 20 judges, this is just an example, okay, 20 judges are there in Allahabad High Court, then ad hoc judges that could be appointed to Allahabad High Court cannot be more than 10%. Okay, and this can be done. Let me have a look at your this audio video thing if it is working fine. 20 judges are there. Yes, it's working fine. If anybody has got any doubt, just put it in the comments feed. So then not more than 2 ad hoc judges could be appointed. Simple. In 2021, the court had said that these ad hoc judges could be appointed only in those high courts where 80% of the strength of the judges, sanctioned strength of the judges, if the permissible number of judges in the Allahabad High Court, according to our example, is 20, and if there are less than 16 judges, that is less than, if a High Court is working with less than 80% of its sanctioned strength, that is 80% of the judges are, less than 80% of the judges are there. 20 judges are allowed and only 15, 14 are there. Then only a ad hoc judge could be appointed to as a kind of time gap arrangement to deal with the vacancy. Then the last condition, if you'll see here, the number of cases, the rate of disposal of cases in a high court. That means if on an average in a month a high court is able to dispose of 400 cases, which is too big a number though, but if the number of new cases being filed is 700, 800, okay, that means the rate of filing of new cases is higher than the rate of disposal of cases by that high court. Only in those circumstances can the ad hoc judges be appointed. Got it? Then another criteria is if the aging of cases is more than 5%, as you can see in point number 4 or 5. Aging of cases means if the cases pending in a particular category, for example, criminal cases have got a ripple effect. Okay, that means more people will go for committing crime because they know that there is no fear of law in the minds of, because they are not getting, the people who have already committed crimes are not getting the punishment, in simple terms. So that is why if the cases, criminal cases for example, are of the age, are pending since more than 5 years, that could be another reason for the ad hoc judges to be appointed. That is another criteria here, right? So not only criminal cases, if commercial cases, for example, check bounce case, you gave me a check and that check got dishonored. If those type of cases are pending for more than 5 years and the number is increasing, so that gives the other people, other borrowers of the bank loans a reason to not pay their loans. Delinquency will increase, people will become defaulters, they will not abide by the bank payment, EMIs, etc. That is why if in any category, criminal category, commercial, POCSO Act cases, if any of such cases category is older than 5%, 5 years, okay, and the number is still increasing, that could be another reason for appointment of ad hoc judges. If 10% of the pendency had crossed 5 years, if total pendency of cases is, let's say, 40,000, out of that 4,000, more than 4,000 cases are of the age of the years less than, more than 5 years, okay, then that could be another reason. Now here, see Article 224A. What is the procedure? Procedure is the Chief Justice of a High Court. Let us understand this procedure quickly. If the Chief Justice of a High Court, thinks that he needs to appoint some ad hoc judges, he will float the proposal, and this proposal will be routed through the collegium, that is Chief Justice of India plus 2 senior most judges of the High Court, Supreme Court. Okay, that proposal will be sent to the President, Ministry of Law and Justice, and then Law and Justice will forward it to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister will ultimately take it to the President for his approval. Chief Justice of the High Court will initiate the process after consulting the 2 senior most judges of the Supreme Court and CJI, that is the collegium. Okay, so this is the procedure for appointment as delineated, as enunciated in Article 224A. The Chief Justice of a High Court for any state may at any time, with the previous consent of the President, request any person who has served as the judge of the High Court. Now, this is the fact. What is the analysis to it? Analysis is, can we not increase the age of judges? High Court judges as of now, they retire at the age of 62 years. Okay, as per 15th Amendment Act, those things in the Indian polity we'll talk about. And Supreme Court judges, they retire at the age of 65 years. In the US, the adage goes, the proverb goes like this: judges in diapers. That means judges choose their own age of retirement in the countries like US, UK, etc. Okay, but is this not a ploy to, is this not a trick to have the own men who are loyal to the establishment, who are loyal to the government of the day, to have them back in the chairs? Why can't we increase the age of retirement of judges by, let's say, 3 years? 65 years for the High Court judges and 68 years for the Supreme Court judges. That way, the young and relatively younger judges will have more motivation to give their best while giving the judgments. They will read more, they will peruse through the judgments of the other Supreme Court, other jurisdictions like US, America, Australia, etc., and give the best in their tenure as the judge, rather than having them back after their retirement when their motivation level would have gone down, when the others will feel demotivated. The judges who are in service would feel demotivated if the person who has got retired is being brought back, to the detriment that the person who is in service, who is thinking for a promotion from the High Court judge to the Supreme Court judge, is not given a chance. Isn't it? So you should increase the age of the judges across the spectrum. You have senior judges, they will become even more senior. That could be another reason. Why not, second point, why not regularize the appointment process? Reform collegium. Why there are frequent deadlocks between the government and the judiciary when it comes to approving the names suggested by the collegium? Why so much of deadlock? These are the regularized ways of appointing the judges rather than looking for the band-aid solution to it. You understand? When you have a wound, you should go for a proper dressing or surgery rather than looking for the band-aid solutions which might lead to septic in the system. That is what is happening. Criminalization of politics, criminalization of society at large. I told you about broken window syndrome. When one person crosses the red signal, second ARC gave this, the others would emulate, provided that he is not getting punished. If the traffic police personnel is not stopping you when you jump, is not stopping the very first person who jumps the signal, the whole cohort will follow the culprit. And that is what is happening in Indian society. When criminalization, instances of criminalization are increasing because people see that they are not being brought to the book. They are not being punished actually. Moving to the next topic, states-led panels draft the comprehensive social security plan for workers. What do we mean by social security? Let's understand this term. First of all, the background, as I told you in the initial first 1 minute, that as a follow-up to the news published in the Hindu newspaper, that out of 1,37,000 crore rupees accumulated under Building and Other Construction Workers Act, only 67,000 or 70,000 crore rupees have been spent, and 70,000 crore rupees are lying idle, to the effect that workers, even as they are struggling on one hand, and on the other hand, the money for their welfare is lying idle. Every such construction activity, the cost of the project, if 1,000 crores is the cost of the project, 2%, that means roughly 20 crore rupees will be charged as cess, and it will be credited to the fund known as Building and Other Construction Workers Welfare Fund. This money has got accumulated to the extent that it is 70,000 crore rupees lying with Labour Ministry. This news got published in the Hindu newspaper, and that is why Minister has now come into action. He is now constituting the Chintan Shivir. He is in Chinta now, in tension now, that adverse publication, adverse news has come related to his ministry. Labour's Ministers' Conference of all the Labour Ministers of the unions and the states and union territories has been constituted, and ministers have been divided into groups of 5 each. 3 or 4 groups will be constituted so as to suggest upon the implementation of 4 labor codes. Now, what are these labor codes? What are these labor codes? These are the labor codes. I had incorporated them. Okay, anyways, they got skipped out maybe. Yeah, these are here. Labor code, one is wage code. Okay, 4 laws that were there earlier have been merged into one labor code. Okay, then 9 laws that were there, Factories Act, etc. Yeah, Employees Provident Fund, yeah, Employees State Insurance Corporation Act, all these archaic laws which were not business friendly. They had a lot, the old laws were putting a lot of compliance burden on the industrial units, on the factories, on the small scale enterprises, which is also not good for economy. Okay, then Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. Earlier there were 13 laws like Minimum Wages Act, working hours for women, occupational safety, workers should be provided proper tools, a safety cap on their head, the yellow cap that you see, so that when they go out to the work in the factory, they do not end up hurting themselves. Occupational Safety Code. All the erstwhile 13 laws have now been merged into a single code. Like we talk about Uniform Civil Code. What is going to be the idea behind Uniform Civil Code? All the laws of Muslims, Hindus, other religions would be merged together into a neat and clean code. Like we have CRPC, we had CRPC, we have now brought about Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. So the code means all the laws related to a subject are compiled together for perusal of judges for easing of compliance burden. You do not need a company secretary now. It is still needed though, but you do not need the company secretary now or the officers. If I'm a small entrepreneur, maybe I'm a chai wala, right? I want to run a business. I want to scale it to MBA chai wala or something of that level. Do I need to have a machinery of chartered accountants, company secretaries, first of all, to teach me how to implement these laws, how to give timely wages to workers, etc.? No, it should be as easy as any book. So that is why the purpose of the codes was to simplify the laws by unification of all the laws in one place, compiling all the amendments that have been brought about through the years should be compiled all at one place. So that was the purpose. Is the video getting stuck or what? Okay, so this is there. Then Industrial Relations Code. Earlier there were Industrial Disputes Act, etc., which had archaic conditions which inspired our initial parliaments 1955-60 to frame those laws looking at the British era, exploitation of workers, looking at the Amrish Puri type movies, exploitation of the workers. But now things are changing for the better. Now we want easier condition for the workers to work under, okay, for the factory owners to work under. As you can see here, removes multiplicity of definitions and authorities, okay, ensures timely wage payment to all the employees, ease of compliance burden on the entrepreneurs. As our Prime Minister is a Gujarati, just on a lighter note, okay, so he knows how to do business. By enabling businesses, rather than making people look out for the work in the government sector, rather than job seekers, you should become job makers, job givers. That is what he said. And that culture of entrepreneurship requires ease of doing business. To bring about ease of doing business, we require simplification of labor laws. If I want to hire 10 people, I can hire them with ease. If I want to hire 200 people, I can hire them with ease. No ESIC, no Employees Provident Fund kind of a burden. Burden means payment of Employees Provident Fund is good. But if you want compliance to be done in a manner which is highly tricky for an entrepreneur who wants to do business, it's going to discourage me from doing my business. It's going to encourage me to rather stay on as employee. Okay, so that is the purpose. Now, what is the meaning of safety net? See, we are in the era of private sector informal workers, be it gig economy. Gig economy is app-based workers. You see Zomato app, you see other applications, okay, porter, delivery boys. So they hire and fire. When these workers are climbing up the economic ladder, here he was earning 20,000 rupees. He wants to earn 25,000 rupees, he can. But the danger of him falling the moment he climbs, the moment he aspires to climb up and up is very high. That is why the term social safety net. In case he falls, not in the literal sense, in case he is jobless, in case he loses his job, where is he going to get money to fend his family from? Okay, from where is he going to get the money? to manage his monthly expenses. He's got 2 kids, 3 kids now. Okay, so that is wherein comes unemployment allowance. Okay, that is where where comes into picture these employees state insurance corporation. All the network of ESIC hospitals, employees state insurance corporation hospitals, is built around by collecting money from the employers. ESIC contributions. Okay, employers pay the money on behalf of employees, which is credited to the fund under the Ministry of Labor. That fund money is used to manage ESIC hospitals for free or cheaper treatment of these workers. Likewise, there are many benefits given to these workers. In 2 rupees, you can get your treatment, or you can consult a doctor at ESIC or any government hospital. In 4 or 5,000 rupees or 1,500 rupees, you can deliver a baby. The pregnancy delivery can be done for these workers. Concessional rate of treatment. Okay, so that is how these social safety networks are weaved in a society. Now here I would like to explain the concept. What happens is there is a trap. When people when people are able to progress from the BPL level, what is this happening, from the BPL level to above poverty line. Let's say if you are earning $2 per day, okay, you are above poverty line. Okay, you are basically just above poverty line, where all the government support would be withdrawn. If a person who is poor, somehow he is able to earn $2 per day, 160 rupees or 200 rupees, whatever, okay, all the benefits like ESIC, etc., BPL ration card, etc., are withdrawn. But here, if he meets an accident, he does not have any insurance facility by the government. All the benefits of this social security net are withdrawn. Why? Because the government thinks that he will be able to fend for himself. He is above poverty line. Above poverty line and just above poverty line is a trap here. People who are just above poverty line marginally are more vulnerable than people who are below poverty line. That is why these people do not want to give away the tag of below poverty line, so that they can avail government schemes till eternity, for lifetime. Okay, they will want to remain small. It's like, see, there is a mother who's got 2 kids. Okay, one kid is smaller and one kid is elder in age, younger and elder. This younger, the elder one would want to remain dwarf, would want to remain smaller, because mother will be able to pick up only one kid, one baby, one kid who is younger in age, who is weaker in age. So he would want to remain weaker. This is the problem here with the below poverty line tag, that these workers, they do not want to climb up the ladder. Okay, that is why these factories also who hire these workers, they don't want to hire more than 10 workers on their payroll. Because the moment you hire more than 10 workers, you have to, micro small enterprises have to comply with Employees Provident Fund, Employees State Insurance Corporation contribution on behalf of workers. 12.5% contribution towards the Employees Provident Fund, 12.5% of an employee's salary. That is why the new concept of the labor inspector cum facilitator has been brought about. What is the meaning of labor inspector? Earlier, it used to be labor inspector only, who would inspect the premises, levy the penalty, give the challan to the factory who's not compliant with the archaic, the old era laws, Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, etc. Proper payroll has to be maintained, right? Now the nomenclature has been so changed that it will be named as labor inspector cum facilitator. Got my point? So this is how the vocabulary, the phraseology, the nomenclatures have been changed to facilitate the businesses, not to keep them dwarf, not to keep them smaller in size. Business should be aspirational. He should not remain, the entrepreneur should not have an intention to remain smaller just because he wants the penny benefits from the government, or he wants to avoid the regulations that come along with being bigger. A bigger child would have to walk himself. The elder one will have to walk on his own. The younger one will be held in lap by the mother called government over here. In our analogy, this mother is the government. Mother will be only able to pick up atas, not tatas. Getting my point? The people who are downtrodden will only be picked up, be it workers or entrepreneurs. Now, moving further, manual scavenging. If you construct dry toilets and still ask that the practice of manual scavenging, why is it not being eradicated? That is the tragedy with Swachh Bharat mission. Supreme Court has now reprimanded the government again that why, despite 10 years of the passage of Prohibition and Rehabilitation of Manual Scavengers Act 2013, 2024, more than 10 years have passed and still we see this dirty practice of manual scavenging being carried out. What are the reasons? Let's answer the question simply. Technocratization. When we have oxygen masks, etc., etc., liquefied, modified oxygen cylinders were all around during COVID. But why can't we give these workers who go under the drain to clean the mess, to clean the dirt, the technical equipment to do this? Why don't we have machineries? We are a country which is talking about lander rover, which is talking about pairing of satellites or by the ISRO in the sky, but under the drain we are still the same. Whether the practice of untouchability, the abolition of untouchability, Article 17, why aren't we still able to implement the act in letter and spirit? These were the tough questions posed by the Supreme Court in the yesterday's hearing at the Supreme Court. Now, amicus curiae, the friend of the court, said that, sir, the governments are misleading. They say that out of 600 districts, this is what the government informed the court, that in out of 775 districts, 465 districts haven't reported any case of manual scavenging. Okay, I'll tell you one personal experience. Going to the Khan market in Delhi, a posh area otherwise, at around 11, I saw a manual scavenger cleaning the drain, going into the drain. I just wanted to click a photo to upload it on the portal. That manual scavenger went under the drain and did not come out. He said, Saab, my job will be gone. Please don't do this. Okay, so such is the terror, because they won't be rehabilitated as the act mandates the government to rehabilitate them. They are fearful of losing their job because nobody would hire them because of the caste tag on their certificate. Traditional reasons, modern reasons, traditional reasons are the caste type factors. Modern reasons behind continuity of manual scavenging is, the contemporary reasons are Swachh Bharat Mission toilets. Why in the initial leg of Swachh Bharat Mission, dry toilets were constructed? Dry toilet means that there would be no water to flush out the human excreta. That means somebody is going to pick that up, right? So that is the reason that manual scavenging is continuing. Modern contemporary reasons are, why aren't we providing them the technological equipments with which they can clean the drains, the gutters we are talking about, right? So these are the reasons. Now, Supreme Court said that why hollow claims of dignity under Article 21 are being proliferated, are being spread, when this kind of a dirty practice is still continuing. Now, this is an opportunity for us to go through the manual scavenging clauses, etc. Prohibition of employment as manual scavengers and their Rehabilitation Act 2013. Rehabilitation of manual scavengers by providing financial assistance, housing, alternative livelihood options, education for their children. If these things are not provided, they are going to continue under the drain. They need to be uplifted. And what is the main provision at which the Supreme Court scolded or castigated the government? The Act mandates the formation of district committees at the district level, vigilance committees, to ensure the prohibition of manual scavenging. Proper prohibition of manual scavenging has to be there. District level committees under the leadership or chairmanship of district collector are to be constituted. The amicus curiae, the friend of the court in this matter, to guide the court further, said that government is not actually appointing these, forming these committees which will look after the dry toilets or the gutters which need to be cleaned. Okay, See, this is a complex topic which requires redevelopment, which requires digging all the pipelines and reinstalling them of the size which can be very easily cleared by the excavation trucks, or you can say the evacuation trucks, pipe trucks that are used to pull out the waste automatically by suction trucks or suction pumps they are called. The size of the pipes is so small in various municipality jurisdictions that you cannot eradicate this practice. A human hand can go into the sewer, but not the hose pipe, the suction pipe. So that is the problem. This question has already been asked. Why, despite legal prohibition of manual scavenging in India, does the practice continue to persist? So I've given you the hint. This will be the question for the day. Post your answer on the Telegram channel to get it evaluated. You have to be consistent for at least 7 days. Now, moving further, these are all the provisions. You can go through them through the PDF. It will be helpful for you. Now, urban-rural consumption gap is lowest in Kerala. That means there is a survey conducted by MOSI, not MOSI, here it is MOSPI. Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation comes up with the survey. This is Household Consumption Expenditure Survey, okay, monthly basis. This tells that the monthly income of the rural households and urban households, an increased share of this monthly income is being spent on the food items. I give you a poser. What could be the reason? If this is a prelims question, what are the reasons? What could be the probable reasons behind the increase in monthly household consumption expenditure? A, increase in inflation could be one. Yes. B, household incomes have increased. Yes. C, there is an inclination of households to not to consume luxury items, but to go back to the food items, the organic ones. Okay, repackaging of the food material in the sense that people are becoming more health conscious. Changed preferences, behavioral preferences of the people could be another reason. Got it? Now see here, it could be because of increase in inflation. Rest is all data. Okay, you have to apply your mind to this. Inflation is increasing, so households have to spend a better percentage of their overall budget, overall income on the food items. This does not portray that, or this portrays that we are growing as an economy. Per capita income is also growing, right? People feel safe. Why would you invest? When would you spend more on food items, or when would you spend more in general? When you are sure about your income continuity. Okay, so these could be the reasons. Rest is all facts over here. The share of food in the consumption basket, rural households went up to 47% in 2023-2024 from 46.3%. To my mind, this seems to be triggered by inflation. The increase is not huge so as to say that incomes have increased. Okay, prices of bread, butter, dal, roti, everything has increased across the spectrum. Tomatoes to potatoes, everything. So this inflation data triggered monthly household consumption expenditure increase. Now, the difference in average monthly consumption expenditure between rural and urban households narrowed further. This is another pointer. The difference between the rural households and urban households. Ordinarily, traditionally, it has been observed that rural households, they spend more on food, and urbanites, they spend more on fashionable items, right? As our income levels grow, in case of urban India, income levels are more than the rural India. So they spend more on fashionable items than on the good diet, urbanites, even though diet could be expensive. Another finding is top 5% people of the rural and urban population saw a decrease in consumption expenditure in 23-24, even as all other segments of the population registered an increase. So here is the reason: when you are in the top 5% of income percentile, okay, you do not spend much on food items, because as I said yesterday also, when we were talking about Manmohan Singh's policy and all, food becomes Anant Ambani. He's so fat and obese, whatever, okay, with due respect, but he's not going to eat hundreds of chapatis because his father is having hundreds of crores of rupees. There is up to a certain level, top 5% people in the income percentile, they won't spend much on food. But people who are below poverty line, you give them 8 chapatis, they will eat in one go, because they do not have the luxury to get the food every day. They feel that let us store the calories for future. Okay, but people who are rich, affluent, they may not want to consume as much food, right? So these are the reasons that top 5% of rural and urban population, they saw a decrease in the consumption expenditure. Got it? This was all. Contempt cases are on the rise. Contempt of Courts Act 1971. When contempt cases are on the rise, that means people are disregarding the summons issued by the court. Okay, so Supreme Court said, the judiciary said that we need to do something. Law Ministry is saying, say if the contempt of court cases are increasing, that means people are not respecting the institutions of the court, be it district judge, be it district courts, high courts, or Supreme Court. Summons are sent to the person does not go. Or if anybody willfully or knowingly or unknowingly says something which is derogatory to the court, insulting the institution of the court, personal remarks against judges. Okay, so these are the matters which come under contempt cases. There is a law in India, Contempt of Courts Act 1971, sometimes which is criticized. Okay, now high courts with most pending cases, contempt cases, Calcutta, Allahabad, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh. So this is about contempt only. Let's not go too much into it. But this point deserves attention. Government came up with the National Litigation Policy in 2010. Very, very interesting point I'm going to tell you. Rest is all cakewalk for you. A bureaucrat, if I am, and there is a lot of, if I am an IAS officer standing here alone, and there is a lot of danger of CBI inquiry, ED raid, okay, prevention of money laundering or Benami property, so much of danger, rules and regulations, CVC, Central Vigilance Commission might come back to haunt this IAS officer. So for taking any decision on which there is lack of clarity or which is of huge financial magnitude, 5,000 crore rupees policy, this IAS officer will have a tendency to file a case in judiciary so as to get the approval of judiciary with this gavel. Judge says it's fine, go ahead. So there is a tendency amongst IAS officers, amongst the bureaucracy, that let's get the policy approved by the court rather than appending our signatures, giving our signatures on the policy, giving approval, let's get it approved. Because tomorrow somebody might go to court and challenge the decision taken by IAS officer, which is why government has emerged to be the biggest litigator, choking the judicial institutions. In the light of such a scenario, the government had come up with the National Litigation Policy in 2010 so as to tell secretaries, income tax department as to which cases to file. Income tax department for petty cases of 1 crore, 2 crore rupees, they file a case in the court to recover the tax dues. Even as the big fish, Amazon, Vodafone, Jio, Maro, they are able to swim through the dirty waters. They are able to rig the system in their favor. Big fishes are not being caught. Smaller fishes are choking the system, judicial system, leading to pendency of cases, leading to talk of setting of commercial courts. It could be a solution, right? So these are the reasons. Contempt of Court Act. I leave it to you to read the basic things. Is it fine? PDF will be shared on time from now onwards, but it is going to be your bounden duty to go through the static portion. Reading of static portion consumes a lot of time, a drain on your time and on my time. So it's better to focus on the analytical things. I'll give you a lot of analytics and analytical points here. Okay, NLP, etc. I'll give you the crux of the topic. Corroborate, read that thing along with your PPT, which will be shared tomorrow onwards, even before the DNA starts. Done? Now, coming here, practice UPSC MCQs, etc. Okay, so this is related to this particular topic. Now, you've been asking about this thing, peer-to-peer lending platforms. Last news for the day, quickly. I am having 2 lakh rupees. Okay, let's say I'm looking for someone from you guys to borrow this money. I would go to I2I platform, which is a finance, this peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer means you and I, you want to borrow, I want to lend. We would be connected by peer-to-peer lending platform named as I2I. It is a popular lending platform. You want to borrow money, I want to lend money. but we are not able to have a standard contract. This I to I will have a standard contract. This will tell me about your CIBIL score, your credibility, so that I can rest in peace. I can rest assured that my money is going to the safer hands. This is the meaning of these type of platforms. Okay. Now, what these platforms are doing, I gave them 2 lakh rupees. Instead of giving it to you, I to I is siphoning of the funds, or it is not sending the funds to you in just transaction plus 1 days. I gave them the money on 30th of January. They should have transferred it to you by 31st of January latest. But they are keeping this money and lending it to you after 7 days, 8 days. That means they are breaching the norms set by RBI. This diversion of funds, even if here our example is 2 lakh rupees only, this diversion could be of the tune of 2 lakh crore rupees, 20,000 crore rupees. So that is why RBI has come down heavily on these players, asking them to adhere to T+1 timeline. Pictorial representation of the flow of funds. This is me, JV. This is somebody, TV. Okay. Tarun Verma or somebody, anybody, not my brother though. So how this money is being mapped to, let's say, Anshul or Vedan, anybody, right? So how this money is going to different borrowers. There is no clear mapping. Lines are here and there. That is why RBI is asking pictorial representation of flow of funds within the firms. Okay, so this is their snapshot of advertisements for P2P loan products. Misleading advertisements are a feature in insurance, peer-to-peer lending, borrowing, gold loan, Muthoot Finance. That practice needs to be curbed. So that is why advertisements, whatever advertisements are being published, like these days we see advertisements of online gaming, gambling, etc. Those type of advertisements should be refrained from. Details on cross-selling practices. Cross-selling means what? Cross-selling is you are saying that you will be selling it to, my money would be given to you, okay? But if my money is given to somebody else, an instance of cross-selling. I was told that the borrower is having a CIBIL of credibility of 780. Okay, let's say the CIBIL score tells us about how good a person is in terms of paying his credit card bills, his loan EMIs. But if the person, my money is being given to somebody who is having a lot of non-performing asset loans, who is not paying his loans on time, cross-selling. Okay, so these practices need to be curbed. This was all in today's news analysis. I hope it helps. A lot of analytical things I have told you in this class, and this will be the new pattern of doing the DNA. We'll cut down on the static portion so as to enable you to read yourself, because that is the advantage as English medium students we should not lose out on. We should save our time, and rather than peppering the DNA with facts, we should be having more of analytical content. That is what is required for this exam, prelims as well as mains. If your level of understanding concepts is increasing, ability to absorb facts will commensurately go up. Got it? With this, I take your leave. Stay tuned for the budget session, economic survey session will come today itself after the government releases economic survey. Budget session, snapshot of the budget, sneak peek into the budget will be provided tomorrow itself by first half of the day, 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Okay, so we'll be coming, we'll keep you updated on through this channel, PW Only IS English, about the budget updates. Thank you. Bye-bye. It was a pleasure teaching you guys. Thank you.